Here's a crazy little factoid about Texas. It has to do with how they treat humans and how they treat animals. In Texas, did you know that animal shelters are obligated by law to ensure that their ambient temperature does not rise above 85 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 2 hours? The basic idea being that that would be dangerous to the dogs and the cats and others, and they don't want to put an animal through that. But there are some animals that they're okay with that, and that would be animals like people, particularly prisoners, who largely across America are afforded basically no consideration or thought, but particularly in Texas, they're about the last thing that people are worried about. And that's a problem because it is really hot in Texas right now, and nowhere perhaps is it hotter in Texas than in prisons. Bear in mind, most of these prisons don't have cooling systems. Up to 100,000 incarcerated people are currently baking in effectively concrete and metal cells that act as heat traps. Inside temperatures are estimated to rise regularly above 115 degrees Fahrenheit and have even been recorded to reach as high as 149 degrees Fahrenheit. That, of course, is not sustainable. That's like you can cook things at that temperature, and we are cooking things. Those things are prisoners. Texas is one of at least 13 states that does not mandate universal prison air conditioning. About 70% of its units have just partial or no cooling systems whatsoever. And when you hear those temperatures, like 115 degrees Fahrenheit, you might think, okay, well, I've sort of heard that like Arizona is experiencing those temperatures. Yeah, outside, and people avoid it. There's no avoiding it. It's where you are as a prisoner. That's it. And if you're wondering, well, does this have an effect on them? Yeah. Between 2001 and 2019, a team at Brown looked into the 2,000 deaths that were recorded in uncooled Texas prisons during that time. And they concluded that 13%, some 271 deaths might be attributable to extreme heat. 271 people needlessly dead. Now, I know in the modern context in America, we needlessly kill way more people than that, but that is still 271 people. And while you might have the reflex to think, well, they're prisoners, I don't need to afford them any compassion whatsoever. Not necessarily. Like, just the fact that somebody messed up or committed some sort of crime does not mean that they should be cooked alive in a concrete hell. And so anyway, yes, this is happening all around your state. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny that you have to clarify that these are people and they don't deserve to die just because they did something wrong, because I do think that that is kind of the knee-jerk reaction of a lot of people. And here in Texas, we don't have the best record when it comes to our prisons and our prison system. We also don't have the best record when it comes to the humane treatment of people. You look at what's happening in the prisons and then also down at the border. And there are people here, Republican voters, who defend all of these things. It's one thing to say, you know what, I have an issue with this. I don't like that you committed this crime, whatever. It's another thing to say, I don't care if you burn alive in a prison cell under incredibly inhumane treatment. I don't know how to get from point A to point B. In my own mind, in my own heart, I don't know how that happens. Living in Texas is frankly impossible at this point unless you have air conditioning in your car, in your home. The only way that we survive down here, and I mean, yeah, like since I've moved here and now it's even hotter than when I first moved here, you go from your air conditioned house to your air conditioned car to your air conditioned office or wherever you're going, right? That's how it works. If you're subjecting yourself to these extreme temperatures for an extended period of time, it is exhausting. You will get a heat stroke. It'll literally knock you out. So it's really upsetting that people wouldn't find a problem with that just because these people committed a crime.
Yeah, no, 100%. They should be more bothered by this. But look, I've generally found over the last few years that advocating for any consideration for prisoners is considered some sort of like, no matter what the conditions are across the country, it's like a luxury, it's an extravagance that we can't bear and probably shouldn't even bother thinking about, like advocating for, people who, like not everybody who's in prison killed 30 people and ate their bodies. Like that's not actually how reality works. The idea that they should be denied the vote, that they should be denied the opportunity when they return to society to be a part of it. I will never understand that, but
Yeah, it's also very short-sighted. Like, what do you think is going to happen with these people? Wouldn't you want them to reintegrate into society a better person than when they went in? So I don't really know what their end goal is or what they hope to happen or hope to see happen with these people. And also the fact that Texas doesn't mandate air conditioning in prisons is insane. But we also saw our governor, he recently said that, employers don't need to mandate water breaks for workers, for mail delivery workers and things like that. So we are behind on a lot of things that we should really be ahead of.
Yeah, I'm glad that you point that out because we do need to give credit where credit is due. And Greg Abbott is at least being consistent. He doesn't give a damn if prisoners or workers drop dead from the heat he's contributing to with his barbaric energy policy. So credit to you, Greg Abbott, you're the worst.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.